And taking a look at the national forecast, there's a 30% chance of boredom, a 60% chance of excitement, and 100% chance of...
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill Nye the Science Guy, get over here. Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill, I think there's a draft in here. Can you turn the heat on? Bill Nye the Science Guy. Bill, are you gonna help your mother or not? You're horrible, you know that? Get over here, turn the heat on. Hello and welcome back. In a not so surprising turn of events, Bill Nye and Netflix have decided to rewrite history this week. Following last week's controversy over Bill's new episode about the sexual spectrum, well, it looks like Netflix is trying to do a little damage control. Fortunately, it's backfiring stupendously. Let me explain. Over the last couple days, Netflix re-edited an episode of Bill Nye's older show, Bill Nye the Science Guy, to make it match the new gender spectrum bullcrap they put out in his new show. If you don't remember, Bill Nye Saves the World had a whole segment about the sexual spectrum.
We are, of course, enlightened and forward-thinking, but not everyone sees it this way.
Bill Nye now thinks genders are fluid, apparently. But the thing is, that doesn't match up with his beliefs from 20 years ago. I really shouldn't say beliefs. I mean, that doesn't match up with the facts from 20 years ago, which are the facts now. Let's take a quick look at the scene Netflix cut out from the 1996 episode of Bill Nye the Science Guy called Probability. Check it out.
Consider the following.
I'm a girl. Could have just as easily been a boy, though, because the probability of becoming a girl is always 1 in 2.
That's right, kids. In the 90s, there were only 2 genders. Muslims weren't mainstream and there were no Kardashians. Well, except Kim's dad, who was helping OJ get away with murder. But besides that, things were pretty great. This is why people are so nostalgic about the 90s now. You didn't have 59,000 fucking genders to remember.
See, inside each of our cells are these things called chromosomes, and they control whether we become a boy or a girl.
This is where things get a little tricky for trans trenders. Chromosomes are too scientific and fact-based to determine genders. No, people should go by their feelings, not science. Get the fuck out of here.
Before you're born, your mom gives you one of her chromosomes and your dad gives you one of his. Mom always gives you an X. And if dad gives you an X too, then you become a girl. But if he gives you his Y, then you become a boy. See, there are only 2 possibilities.
Ooh, eek. That's a little awkward. Not for me, of course. I live in reality. But for all those delusional social justice warriors out there, what this girl just said can be very triggering. Yeah, it's gotten that bad. It's gotten to the point where we can't say there's just 2 genders anymore. There aren't only 2 possibilities for sex now, to these psychos. And to make things worse, the PC police are usually in power in the media and even the government. And when they're not in power, those in charge are more likely than not going to bend their knee to SJWs. And what do the liberal lunatics do with their power? They change science, deny reality, and in this case, re-edit videos from 20 years ago because they don't fit the narrative. They're trying to rewrite history. This is some real 1984 shit going on here.
XX, a girl, or XY, a boy. The chance of becoming either a boy or a girl is always 1 in 2. A 50-50 chance either way. It's like flipping a coin. X, you're a girl, Y, you're a boy.
How old is this chick, by the way? Is she cute or not? I can't tell. I'm not gonna say anything else. Whatever. Moving on. Before you go, I'm gonna ask you guys to check this shit out. Hey, yo, let's check this shit out. Check this shit out, guys. This isn't the first time SJWs tried to rewrite history. It appears to be a favorite pastime of theirs. For example, let's take a look at another talking point that requires liberals to be generous with their interpretations of history. Slavery in America. Nothing gets the races pitted against each other in the US like bringing up slavery. Mentioning slavery's horrors coupled with black and white photos is a go-to move for these regressives. They would have you believe American slavery ended only a few years ago, not 150. And on top of that is the exaggeration of things. To me, it always seems the amount of slaves and their impact is always overblown. In fact, it's pretty common to hear SJW say America was built by slaves, as if they did all the work. Well, first of all, there was only slaves in the South, so someone else was building and running industries in, say, Washington, D.C., Boston, New York, Chicago, and even St. Louis. And then when you think of the numbers, the impact of slavery dwindles even more. Let me ask you guys this, and be honest, how many slaves do you think came into America from Africa? Africa. Pause this video and comment below before you move on. I'll give you a little hint. Around 10 million slaves came from the African slave trade into North and South America. Now, how many of those do you think came into the United States? 1,000? 100,000? A million? 2 million? 3? Well, if you guessed under 500,000, you're pretty close to being right. Only about 300,000 African American slaves came into the United States. That's right, less than 500,000 slaves came to a far-off, remote section of a nation consisting of between 3 and 30 million people. Yet somehow, this microscopic percentage built the whole country? You gotta be fucking kidding me. Now let's get back to Bill Nye and wrap this thing up. Let's put a bow on this shit. This segment has been, hey, yo, check this shit out. In the end, Bill Nye, Netflix, and many others in the mainstream are just too easy to bend the knee to social justice. If Bill Goy were a true scientist, his thoughts and opinions on gender wouldn't have happened to change into what's popular and trendy with libtards today. Hell, it shouldn't have changed at all. It shouldn't be based on opinion. This is scientific fact. There's 2 genders. Get over it. Now, I'm not one to say people's beliefs don't change. A lot can change over 20 years, sure, but the fact that there's still only 2 genders has not. Science doesn't change that easily, in fact. And there's been no groundbreaking developments in sex and gender over the last 20 years to justify this. On top of that, Bill hasn't been studying gender or sexuality or anything for that matter. Nothing that could change his scientific observations. No, what's changed here is trends, pop culture, and this new wave of social justice. Being trans is super hip right now. That's what put gender on a spectrum. In fact, it's put everything on a spectrum. Race is on a spectrum, privilege is on a spectrum, all that shit. It's getting fucking old. What do you guys think? Is Netflix rewriting history? Is Bill Nye's show getting a 2nd season? And someone tell me who the fuck Rachel Bloom is. I'm still trying to figure that shit out. Thanks again for watching. See y'all next time.